Do you or a member of your family get sick every cold and flu season? Today we're going to share with you a tool on how to avoid that. Hi, I'm Dr. Christensen. Welcome to my office. Today we share with you the culmination of about 25 years of herbal experience with ourselves and with our patients that we feel is just a wonderful formula. We call it our immune syrup, and it's an Echinacea based formula that has been just very, very effective in strengthening and toning the immune system so that we can avoid getting ill during the cold and flu season. But it's also a great remedy and formula for so many other things if you are sick, if you do have specific problems. The first ingredient in our immune system, there's 6 herbs in this product. The first ingredient that we use is Echinacea, and there's several different types of Echinacea. There's actually 9 different species that can be used. The most potent and the highly regarded is Echinacea angustifolia. If you find it in the nursery, it's the narrow-leafed purple coneflower. And the Echinacea angustifolia, the whole plant, as all Echinaceas, can be used, but specifically the root is the most potent or the most powerful. And so the primary ingredient in our immune syrup is Echinacea angustifolia. Echinacea angustifolia supports the immune function. It relieves colds and flus. It's for pain. It helps with indigestion problems. It helps with ADHD, chronic fatigue syndrome, diphtheria, dizziness, herpes, gum disease, malaria, migraine headaches, pain, rattlesnake bites. This is an interesting one. A few weeks ago, we were in the woods and came across about a 4-foot-long rattlesnake, and that got me thinking, what can we use naturally for a rattlesnake bite? Anti-venom sometimes can be hard to come by, and the research shows that the Echinacea, either the purpurea or angustifolia, are both effective and can be taken internally. So this formula could be used internally for a rattlesnake bite, and some sources suggest that it's as effective as rattlesnake antivenom. Echinacea is specific for streptococcus type infections, for flu, for tonsillitis, for typhoid, for urinary tract infections, for yeast infections. It's a great herb used for many things. Years ago, it was suggested that Echinacea cannot be used on a long-term basis, but further research has validated that no, this can be used every day indefinitely, and it's not going to harm the body. However, with all herbal products, I generally recommend taking something 6 days on, 1 day off, 6 weeks on, 1 week off. By varying the use of any herbal product, we don't acclimatize to it. So we again, when we stop taking something for a week, if you've been taking it for a while, and then you reintroduce it, it actually becomes more effective. So our first herb is Echinacea angustifolia. Our second one is Echinacea purpurea, which again is one of those Echinaceas similar in its effectiveness, but it's kind of approaches it at a slightly different angle. And so the Echinacea purpurea again is used externally for burns and wounds and insect bites. People can chew the root of any of the Echinaceas for a toothache. When you put Echinacea in your mouth, if you've got a good potent Echinacea, typically the root, but again, as I mentioned, the whole plant can be used, the flowers, the leaves, the stems. When you put it in your mouth and start chewing it, you'll notice that your tongue will begin to tingle. That's the effectiveness of the Echinacea. And so that tingling sensation that you get, which lasts, the tingling effect that you get, which lasts just a couple minutes, is from the Echinacea, and that's a good sign. Internally, the purpurea is used classically for pain, for coughs, for stomach cramps, and again for snake bites, as I mentioned. We show with all of the Echinaceas it actually increases the white blood cell count, which lets us know that the immune system is is kicking into effect. Those are our two primary herbs. In lesser quantities, we use four additional herbs. The first one being Eleuthera root. Eleuthera root was known previously as Siberian ginseng. However, people who were not entirely honest would be selling Eleuthera root or Siberian ginseng as a true ginseng. The difference between their functions is slightly different, but the big difference between Eleuthera root and, let's say, the Panax ginseng or the American ginseng or Korean ginsengs is the cost. Good American ginseng can cost $760 a pound. Good Eleuthera root or Siberian ginseng is going to be usually under $20 a pound. And so if they put on the label ginseng and you think you're getting the expensive one, and in fact you're getting the Eleuthera root, there was some deception there. And so the industry has mandated that we call this Eleuthera root. Eleuthera root is a great herb. It's great for giving you energy, for stamina. It improves your mental or your cognitive function. It helps with managing cancers. They show that people taking Eleuthera root, their stamina and endurance increases. There was a study done with mice, and they basically put them in a tub of water and tested to see how long they could swim. Those that were given the Eleuthera root could swim. Basically, after a couple hours, they finally pulled these poor little animals out and said, okay, it definitely increases it versus the 12 to 14 minutes without the Eleuthera root. Eleuthera root helps with wound healing, and it prevents ulcers such as the diabetic ulcer. It helps us to reduce osteoporosis. While it's not providing calcium per se to the bones, it's helping the body take the calcium that it gets in its diet and put it into the bones. It helps with menopausal symptoms. It helps with menopausal symptoms and respiratory tract infections. Again, it's just a real powerhouse. If you've got swelling or edema, it helps with the lymphatic function. And finally, it helps repair nerve damage and especially nerve damage associated with like diabetic neuropathy, which is the blood sugar issue. The next herb that we use is Podiarco. The inner bark of this tree is used, so they strip off the bark, and then there's a paper thin inner bark, and that's the inner bark of the Podiarco. Classically, Podiarco is used for treating candida or yeast infections. It's also used for malaria, for all kinds of infectious type illnesses or pathogens. It's used for fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue syndrome. It helps with things such as liver disease and some of the lymphomas and Hodgkin's disease. Podiarco, again, is a great herb to build and strengthen and tone the immune system. The next herb is one from South America called cat's claw. If you look at this microscopically, the fibers of the wood actually form little claws. In Spanish, it's called uña de gato or nail of the cat, and it's a very effective herb that is used to treat arthritis. It helps fight cancers. It helps repair the RNA, which is again important for our genes. It lowers high blood pressure. It boosts the body's immune system, boosts the immune function. It combats cold sores and herpes. It improves digestive problems such as Crohn's disease or irritable bowel syndrome. And then the final herb that we add, and this is for flavor, but also it's a powerful herb on its own, and that's cinnamon. Cinnamon helps with digestion. Here's an interesting fact. It seems like God made the herbs that are good for digestion also taste really good. And so herbs such as cinnamon and fennel and all of the mints, the anise, the mace, the different herbs that taste really good that we like to use in baking are also good for the digestion. And so cinnamon is great for the digestion. It also helps with with, it also helps by supporting healthy blood sugar levels. Cinnamon has been shown to triple the effectiveness of insulin in the body. It also promotes wound healing. So these 6 herbs in a formula have been very, very effective. In our next video, I'm going to actually demonstrate how we make this. We're making an alcohol extract. And by doing so, we could actually amplify the effectiveness of it, as well as the alcohol acts as a long-term preservative. And so I encourage you, look into this formula. We've got a special that we're going to be running on it. So the price of making your own immune syrup is really only going to be about 10% of what you would pay at a retail cost. And so if you appreciate this video, if you like it, share it with others, and we'll see you again next time.